looking at tales of the strange and unexplained bedtime stories based on your favorite episodes, the Grunkle Stan edition, also from Gravity Falls. So this book basically tells about the episodes which are called weeks in this book, and explain all the things in them. For example, week 1, tourist trapped. We arrived in Gravity Falls and learned that all is not what it seems, except Grunkle Stan, who is exactly what he seems, maybe. And then the next episode, week 2, the legend of the Gobblewonker. Okay, so it's basically like the Loch Ness monster, but they just call it Gobblewonker. Fitting in. Well, I know that making new friends is what it seems, which is fun. Of course, some friends are squishier and more huggable than others. I'm talking about a pig. Week 3, the incoming. That episode is basically where waddles. That's the pig that they're talking about. Okay, so week 3 is basically about incoming, the episode. And if you don't know what the episode is, and if you can't watch it, just try and find it on YouTube, because there's YouTube videos about the episode. Okay, so week 4, the time traveler's pig. Week 4 just talks about where they find this one like weird machine, and at that one carnival place that she gets Waddles, which is the pig that's on that picture, and then they had to time travel back and forth for something good to happen with Wendy and Dipper. Okay, until Dipper realizes that anyway he would still hit him, and he wants her sister to be happy. So even though that he didn't get it right, at least her sister got happy. But then in the end, everything was good. Week 5, Summerween. Okay, so Summerween is basically an episode where it's Halloween but in summer. And also, by the way, it talks about in the episode that people like Halloween in Gravity Falls, that they made another holiday about Halloween but in summer. And then this giant monster comes up wanting the exact amount of something candies. And they went, well, that's impossible. So, with Mabel and Dipper's costumes, they were able to get a lot of candy. But then, when Dipper saw Wendy's friends coming, he was afraid that they would see him, because they would make fun of him if they saw him trick-or-treating. So he hid his costume, and he also hid the candy. And then when he came back to get the candy, he realized that he pushed them all into a lake. And then when her sister and the other friends came back, all of the candy got lost. They had to fight the monster, run away from it, go to the candy shop. And then Zeus came in, going inside of the giant monster that came out of the suit. And then Zeus ate the candy and said, "This is really good." And then the monster got happy, cried into tears, and then Zeus just ate the whole thing, I think. Yikes, so apparently they celebrate Halloween in summer in Gravity Falls, and they call it Summerween, and it's extra creepy, but not as creepy as Gideon. That depends. Week 6, Dreamscapers. Week 7, Gideon rises. Okay, so this is the episode where you get introduced into Gideon, I think. Week 8, Scary Okie. So it basically talks about stories in season 2, where it's basically like Halloween, but they tell like spooky stories. The problems with zombies and puppets. You know what else is creepy? Zombies. You know what isn't creepy? Puppets. Because puppets could lead you to true love, maybe. Week 9, Song Opera. I think this is the episode where Mabel finds like a boy, and then realizes that she has to make a puppet show. But Bill took over Dipper's body, and now Bill is in his body, and now they had to fight Bill. Defeated Bill, I think, like 12 times. 2 times, but technically 3 because at the end, but technically 2. Okay, and then on week 10, A Tale of Two Stans. Here's what happened. Apparently, Stan is actually not his real name. It's Stan Lee. And then somehow they find another Stan. It's all relative and unicorns. And maybe they won't, or maybe you'll find out that your Grunkle Stan has a twin brother he never told you about, and he knows an awful lot about unicorns. Week 11, The Last Mabelcorn. Unicorns I love. So this is the episode where they had to get unicorn hair, and to get unicorn hair, they had to earn the unicorn's trust of love, which is by doing this. But apparently they got scammed, and then they had to fight through the unicorn. They got way more than the unicorn hair. They got unicorn tears, unicorn hair, unicorn treasure, and a lot more stuff. This is just a bunch of pictures of what happened during the episodes. That's the zombie episode where they call, "What did I tell you to not do? Raise the dead." And what did you do? Raise the dead. And then this is the episode where Ferguson likes them. That's Gideon. And I think that's the giant monster. Tourist Trapped Week 1. So this shows more picture of what happened and introduces them. Oh, and also, by the way, one more thing. You see that? You see in the future that, it's a pile of gnomes. And you cannot believe how they turn into what you see right now. Okay, but anyways, we'll continue with Dipper's story. Summer break. A time for leisure, recreation, and talking it's easy, unless you're me. My name is Dipper. The girl sitting next to me in the golf cart that's about to swell up is my sister, Mabel. You may be wondering what we're doing here, running from a giant monster made out of some sort of thing, chasing us. Creature, unmanageable horror. Rest occurred. There's a perfectly logical explanation. Hello, this is Mabel, and I feel like I'm going to puke. Other than that, I don't really have anything to say right now, except welcome to Gravity Falls. We probably could have left out the part about you puking. Probably. For you to understand what's going on, we have to back up for a minute. Everything started when our parents decided that we could use some fresh air for the summer. Whatever dreams I might have had of just hanging out and playing video games for a couple of months were tossed right out the windows. They packed our bags and sent us a little town in Oregon called Gravity Falls. We were going to stay with our dad's Uncle Stan. That made him our great uncle, or grunko. That sure is fun to say. Grunko, grunko, grunko. Hey, let me try that. Grunko, grunko, grunko. It's the best, isn't it? But Grunko Stan's place was kind of an old family and falling apart. Our room was in the attic, and the furniture was full of splinters. I know this because I found most of them with my fingers. Isn't that great? Also, there was a goat on Dipper's bed. I think the goat really liked me. But I know that it really liked my sweater because it started chewing on it right away. It didn't seem like the goat would ever stop. It was the cutest thing. My sister tends to look on the bright side of things. Grunko Stan had turned the rest of his house into a tourist trap, a sort of museum where people paid money to see weird stuff. He called it the Mystery Shack. The real mystery was why anyone would pay to see it. Case in point, I stuffed Yeti wearing a pair of underwear. Grunko Stan called it Sasquatch. Well, I thought it was entering, and he even had a mounted jackalope head. You know, the legendary creature that's part rabbit, part deer, antlers on the rabbit head. Wow. While we were staying with Grunko Stan, we got to work in the Mystery Shack too. I don't know if I'd used a phrase got to. It was more like we had no choice because Grunko Stan was making us work in the Mystery Shack. Potato. Anyway, one day Grunko Stan said he needed someone to hammer up signs in the spooky part of the forest. I said, not it. So did I, and so did Zeus and Wendy's, who also worked at the Mystery Shack. They were both older than me and Mabel, and didn't seem to pay Grunko Stan too much attention. Zeus, Wendy. Grunko Stan used a very specific process to decide which of us should hang up the signs. In case you can't tell, that's the sarcasm. He actually did say eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Saying expect instead of saying eeny, mo, he just pointed at me and said, you. And that's how Gunko Stan decided that it was up to me to put up the signs. This was shopping up to be the most boring summer ever. I was walking up to the most boring summer ever. I was walking through the forest, pounding nails, hanging up signs, but through the forest, pounding nails, hanging up signs. But when I tried to hammer the nails into this one tree, it sounded like metal. I looked closely and saw it wasn't really a tree. Then I opened the small control panel and flipped a switch. A trap door in the ground opened behind me, and when I looked inside, I saw an old leather-bound book. There was a handprint on the cover with 6 fingers and the number 3. Inside were pages of strange drawings of creatures I had never seen before. The book has full of writing from a mysterious author. Whoever wrote they sure or paranoid. They said, I'm being watched. I must hide this book before they find it. Remember, in Gravity Falls, there is no one you can trust.